everybody. My name is John Wick, and I am here with the I Speak Giant podcast people. Hi, I Speak Giant podcast people.
Hello.
Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Or
I'm Zac Naoum. I'm the DM of I Speak Giant. I do all the dice rolling and attempting to kill players and such. Joel?
Oh, me? All right. My name is Joel Rennie. I play Lantre, the third Lantre, the fourth. My character is essentially me because I thought it would be funny 4 years ago, and I still think it's funny. And then next up is Luke.
Hi, I'm Luke. I also play an I Speak Giant. You're going to get a lot of that right now. My character is Vinny Cupcakes, Gnome Warlock. Those two facts are going to be real important when you find out who I'm playing with this. I'll throw to Felicia.
My name is Felicia McIntyre. I play Desdemona Wraithwalker. She is a tall elven monk, and she likes to talk with her fists. I will push to Elyssa.
My name is Elyssa Grant, and I surprisingly play on I Speak Giant. I play Frankie Risotto, who is a goblin arcane trickster, and the snarky one of the bunch.
well, awesome.
I feel like snarky.
I mean, I'm just snarkier than Vinny is all that matters.
You all have proficiency in snark. She just has expertise.
That's right.
Rogue bullshit.
It's just one of the gimmies. It's one of the things every character gets, right? So today we're going to be playing 7th Sea, which is a role-playing game of swashbuckling, high adventure, and sorcery. In other words, it's what if Pirates of the Caribbean met Harry Potter type thing. And in the game, rather than playing wandering nomadic sellswords who murder people who don't look like you so you can pick their pockets, you're going to be playing heroes, which means, yes, you're big damn heroes. And in the 7th Sea system, the most important thing, and we're going to talk about it for just a little bit, the most important thing about the 7th Sea system is that your character probably will never fail, because random failure is not a part of the system. When we designed it, we asked the question, what would Errol Flynn do? And
wear really tight pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition to what would Errol Flynn do, the answer is everybody.
Not wrong.
Other than that, the game system works so that when you roll dice, you are determining how well you succeed. And that's it.
Cool.
You can, however, choose to fail. And I'll explain how that rule works too. But before we get started, why don't we talk about your characters? Felicia, why don't you tell me about your character?
My character's name is Des. It's almost like I am playing the same character that I'm used to. But for this case, like she's a pugilist. She's a revolutionaire as well. She likes to use her fists instead of her words, and she gets quite caught up in, political things, protecting her friends and family, all of these things and more. Mostly just punching, though.
So you're just playing yourself, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just playing me.
Why would someone do that?
I don't know.
I was going to say you play the droid from Solo.
Yes, also yes.
All right, excellent. Yeah. And you're from Montaigne, right?
I'm from Montaigne, that's right.
And in 7th Sea is based on 17th century Europe, but it has a fantasy twist, so all the countries, or the countries of 7th Sea are analogs for real European countries. So, for example, there is a French country called Montaigne, and that is where Desdemona is from. Joel, tell us about your character.
Yes, that is a good question. I'm playing Mr. Lantre, much like my D&D character a little bit, but I'm going to have a bit of an accent. I've just decided as we start. I'm Mr. Lantre, this is the accent I'm going to be doing. How does everyone feel about that?
Amazing.
Ecstatic to see you commit.
Yeah, this game is built on bad accents.
All right, good.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
I am an Avalonian, essentially a performer and a pirate are my two backgrounds. So much in line with being a bard, much the same with how we usually do I Speak Giant, whatever. But my arcanas are the Fool, which is the greatest arcana because I have a tattoo that says the Fool. I can't really get in shot, but all right, well, here we go.
Is that your hubris or your virtue?
Good question. That's my virtue. So I'm wily, and which is it's a great virtue. And then my hubris is the hanged man. So my hubris is indecisive, which is very much on brand for me as well.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Felicia, before we started recording, you and I were hanging out a little bit, and
Yep.
your hubris is loyal,
Mhm.
and your virtue is adaptable. Is that right?
Adaptable. That's right. Yep. Loyal to a fault.
Elyssa, you're next.
Yeah, so I am Lady Francesca. She is from Vodoce. Is that how you say
Vodoce.
it? Vodoce.
Yes.
Got it. So she's a conciliary. She's a criminal. And her arcana is the devil with the virtue of astute and the beggar with the hubris of envious.
Oh, got it.
I don't see any of that getting you into trouble.
Nah.
No, not whatsoever.
Zach, you are next.
And I am so excited to. I should have said this in my intro, but I am so excited to be playing as well. Like this is this is such a treat.
Oh, just wait. You just wait.
So Reginald Steele, he's a foppish knight. He is strong of arm but dumb of ass. He's the knight errant and duelist backgrounds. My virtue is glorious, so when I can activate my virtue to be when I'm the center of attention, and then like all my die rolls become raises automatically. But I'm also foolhardy, so like basically all my duelist knight errant quirks and my hubris all come into play. I all get a hero point if I act brash, cocky, if I get into trouble, if I get other people into trouble, like that benefits me incredibly. So,
Great.
so yeah, he is a as far as I understand, like the Knights of Avalon.
One of Queen Elaine's knights. God save the Queen.
We kind of we are hold the mantle of one of the equivalent of like the Knights of the Round Table, essentially. And so I have taken, I think it's Wolfnud. I'm not sure how to necessarily pronounce that. The last character, it's like a D with a cross through it. Wolfnud the Bold, who is just like known for going out on his own, being like a wild cannon and a loose dude on the brink kind of thing. So that
you have
is my
glamour.
entire character.
You have Avalon's glamour then, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
That is part of
Because,
my knight, being a knight errant.
Because Avalon has been enchanted by Queen Elaine, who is King Arthur, and and it's a lot of fun to tell King Arthur stories when King Arthur is a woman. It becomes very interesting. Next and last, Luke.
Yes, I will be playing Vincent Tassekuchen, which is very bad Google Translate in German for cupcake. He is a genus, which means he met a devil at the crossroads and made a pact with said devil for power, which absolutely will not bite him in any way. He's also a scholar, in this case an attorney, because who better to make deals with devils than attorneys who know loopholes? His arcana virtue is the glyph, which makes him temperate, which means he can prevent magical effects, sorceries, monsters from affecting him once, which probably will come up. And his arcana is the witch. His hubris is the witch, which makes him manipulative. And I get a hero point when I get someone else to do my dirty work for me, and it backfires.
Because all of the arcana end with, and it gets you in trouble.
Yes.
How they all end, right? Awesome. So I'm going to teach you guys how to use the system. And it's, like I said, it's really simple. It uses all D10s. And what you do is when you are going to take a risk, which is an action whose outcome is uncertain, or will move the plot forward or change the plot in some way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you for your approach. Now, I'm not asking you what you are doing. I'm asking you how you're going to solve a particular problem. So, for example, if you are on a rooftop being chased by guards, by the Cardinals guards, of course, the problem is I'm being chased by the Cardinals guards, and there's a whole bunch of rooftops that you're going to have to deal with. I'm going to say, what is your approach? Now, you could say, and your approach is going to be one trait and one skill. So you could say that Well, my approach is going to be brawn plus athletics, because my approach is going to be to leap across the buildings to escape the guards. Or your approach could be finesse and weaponry, which is I'm going to fight the guards, right? Or your approach could be panache, which is the greatest virtue of all, and intimidation, because you're going to scare the guards. But I don't want you to tell me what you want to do. I want you to tell me what your approach is. And your approach is always one trait and one skill. Then you're going to take a number of dice equal to your trait and your skill, and you're going to roll them, and you're going to make 10s. And what that means is you're going to use your dice to make sets of 10. Every set of 10 that you make is a raise. And a raise is something that you get to say what happens in the scene. I'm actually going to have very little to say about the outcome of scenes, because the resolution for all of these things that is happening is going to be in your hands. You get to say how your character succeeds or fails based on each raise that you make. So let's pretend that my character is running across the rooftops trying to escape from the guards that are chasing him. And I say my approach is going to be brawn plus athletics, because I want to jump across rooftops. And so I roll a bunch of dice. And I have a 2 and an 8. That's 1 10. One of my dice rolled a 10, so that's a 10. I have a 1, a 3, and a 7. Now, technically that's 11, but once I hit 10, I stop counting. So that's it. So those 3 dice, they make a 10. So I have 3 raises that I can use to narrate the outcome of the scene. And the rest of the dice that didn't make 10, they are traitors, and we shun them. Bad dice. So with those 3 raises, I tell the GM, I leap across the from one building to the other, but I don't make it all the way. And I start to fall towards the ground. And with the second raise, I say, and I land on a balcony just below the rooftop. And with my third raise, I say, and the balcony belongs to the maid of the lady that I was just with, and she hides me from the guards. And that's how the game works. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit different than how most role-playing games work, which is the GM says, do you succeed? And you say yes or no based on the dice. The dice are going to tell you how well you succeed. Now, here's the trick about your approach. Whenever you take an action, whenever you resolve or add a detail that is under your approach, that is, I used brawn plus finesse, or I'm sorry, brawn plus athletics to leap across the buildings. So leaping across the building and safely landing on a balcony only costs me 1 raise per detail, because it's under my approach. But the maid hiding me from the guards is outside my approach. That's not brawn plus athletics, right? That would be more like panache plus convince or something like that, right? Because it's outside my approach, I can still do it, but it costs me 2 raises to narrate a fact outside of my approach. So you can still succeed, but if you do something outside your approach, it costs 2 raises instead of 1. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'll give you one more example, and then we're going to be ready to play.
Yeah.
There is a burning room, because the room is always on fire, because it's an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And in the room, there are these problems. First is that the room is on fire. That's a problem. And all the problems in the room are called consequences. So a consequence is the room is on fire. If you do not deal with the fire, everyone is going to take a wound. The second consequence is that there's a family of servants in the corner of the room that are about to catch on fire. If you do not deal with this consequence, they will die. The third one is that there are guards on balconies on either side of the room with muskets shooting down at you. If someone does not deal with those guards, the consequences are that they're going to shoot you. There is a letter from Queen Elaine, God Save the Queen, that is dangerously close to the fire that you need to get. And if someone does not get that letter it's going to burn up and be destroyed. And then finally, the fifth consequence is there's the villain with the prince that you're trying to rescue over his shoulder about to jump out the window. If you do not deal with that consequence, the villain escapes with the prince. Does everybody understand those consequences?
Does each one have an associated number of raises you need to deal with it?
No. There's one. You need one raise to deal with it. Sometimes I will. What I will do for complications, because, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, is that I can spend a danger point because I have danger points, and I can make things more difficult. I'll explain how that works in a second. So, with this in mind, with these 5 consequences in this room that is on fire, what I want to know is everybody's approach to this room. Okay, so let's start with Felicia. You are in this room that's on fire with guards and servants and a letter and the villain leaping out the window. What is your approach to this room? You pick one trait and one skill. And if I caught you off guard, I apologize.
No, you're all good. I was already having a think. So I think my go would be finesse and convince to get the servant family to leave that corner and go to a safer place in the room so we can get them out sooner.
So are you going to like leap? Because finesse is leaping.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so
and we should go through the traits really quick. The traits, there's 5 traits. And the traits are, and all the traits are how you get out of a room that's on fire. Because that's the best scenario ever. Brawn, if you use brawn to get out of the fire, you just punch the door down. If you use finesse to get out of the fire, you leap between the flames and then out the window into the conveniently placed hay bale that is right outside the window. If you use resolve to get out of the fire, you just walk through the flames because you're John McClane from Die Hard. You just, right? If you use wits to get out of the room, you look around the room and you find the tapestry and pull the tapestry down and put it over your head and get through the fire that way. And if you use panache to get out of the room, you convince the big guy to carry you. Those are the 5 traits, and that's how you use them in the game.
okay.
So, Felicia, what is your approach to this room?
Then it's going to be brawn and I guess brawl because I'm going to punch a hole through the wall so the family can get through.
That sounds fantastic.
Okay.
So get a number of dice equal to your trait and your skill and get ready.
Okay.
Joel, what is your approach to this room?
I think my approach is to be the distraction to the guards outside. And so it's to use finesse to jump through. Well, my approach will be finesse and then perform. So I want to get
Finesse
out of the
and perform?
Yeah.
Because you're going to draw the fire of the muskets, right?
Yeah. I'm going to
Awesome.
be the movie.
You're gonna like taunt them.
Yeah, essentially.
Bet you can't shoot me!
yeah.
Says man
So
who was shot.
Jessica, my partner Jessica, her 7C character has performance, and she sings people into weeping when they attack her.
That's amazing.
So,
Far out.
with that in mind, Elyssa, what is your approach to this room?
I think I'm going to grab the most valuable thing in the room. So I think that would be, would that be?
The letter to
guessing-
Queen Elaine? The letter from Queen Elaine?
Yes. So would that be finesse and athletics to jump to it?
Sure. It might also be finesse plus weaponry, because you use your sword to skewer the letter and pull it from the fire.
Ooh, yes. Let me make sure I'm okay in weaponry. Yeah, okay, that works.
Awesome. Zach, what is your approach to this room?
I'm gonna have at the villain trying to escape with the prince. I think my approach is gonna be brawn and athletics, solely to like barrel these people out the window, and hopefully save the prince using my own body.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna be rush tackling the villain.
Yeah.
Hopefully, right?
Hopefully. That's the
And
intent.
next, Luke, What is your approach to this room?
I am going to hone in on one of those guards, the guard who in the previous scene that we were all here for, the one who looked with distaste as the villain executed someone very publicly, very brutally. And this one guard who's not feeling that he's fully in the villain's court anymore, I want to hit him with a panache and tempt to say he should probably help out Reginald take out this villain because it's in his best interest. He can be a big hero. It's not too late for him. So I want to use panache and tempt to convince him to join the winning team.
Awesome. So everybody takes their trait and their skill in dice, in 10-sided dice, and everybody rolls it once. And then what you do is you count tens. Remember, you can use any dice you want to count to 10. Once your set of dice hits 10, you stop counting, even if it's an 11 or a 12 or whatever. And then once you have the number of, once you have your tens, those are your raises, and I want everyone to hold up with their fingers how many raises they have, because that's going to tell us who's going to go first.
Zac taking the longest.
Mm.
What a surprise.
4.
Wow.
Okay.
4.
That's fair.
Well, it's that super chiseled beard thing, which I hate.
I know.
My brother and my dad
Two.
can grow these gorgeous beards, and I've got this.
That's
Actually,
why
it might be.
I
Actually, it might be 3. I like that. Yeah.
Maybe 3?
That's okay. I'm way behind you. So
All right. So let's just let's just say, Zac, you do have 4. I'm just going to say you have 4.
Sure.
Just because it's more interesting that way. So, Zac, you have the most raises, which means you get to say who goes next. It could be you. It could be the villain. It could be the guards. It could be one of the other players. You get to say, whoever has the most raises gets to say who goes next.
Let's have Des go first to get these people out. The poor innocents.
Yes.
Okay. So, Des, spend one of your raises.
Yep.
And tell me how you rescue the people from the fire, or tell me what happens next. And remember, if it's in your approach, it costs 1 raise, and if it's outside your approach, it costs 2.
So I've got 3 raises. I'm going to spend 2 to say that I convince the mum of the family, who's as brawny as I am, to help me punch through the wall.
Okay, you know what? I think that falls under your approach. So as the GM, so I'm going to say it only costs you 1 raise, and the two of you rear up and you slam your fists through the wall. And of course, these are old 17th century walls, so they're just made out of simple plastic.
Yeah, it just shatters. Yep.
It just shatters down, and because of that, both of you tumble through the wall, covered in dust and plaster and everything else. So excellent, you have saved the family. Zac, you still have the most raises. Who goes next?
I think I will go now. I will spend a raise to. First I'm gonna spend 2 raises to goad him into facing me. I'm gonna be like, draw your pig sticker. It's time to tango. And I want to get his attention on me, and then I will spend my last raise. I want to crash tackle him out of the wall, through the window and out onto the street.
So you spend 2 raises, and you are using your approach because you are crash tackling him like you said you were with. So
the first one was the first 2 was to get his attention on me. So that's more like a panache kind of thing, where okay. I want him to maybe drop the prince or put his entire focus on me rather than escaping with the prince. And then I want to crash tackling him out.
So your plan works because you spent a raise, therefore you succeed. And he turns around and he reaches for his sword, and as he's reaching for his sword, you tackle into him and smash through that heavy, thick 17th century glass that's made of candy. And you smash through and go plummeting towards the street outside. Wonderful. It's 2 stories up, so good luck. By the way, the falling rules in this game are you you will always land on something soft.
Wonderful.
Lovely.
Because that's how it works, right? So you no longer have the most raises. Who has 3 raises? So we have 2 players who have 3 raises. When there's a tie, the players decide who's in charge. So which of you is in charge?
After you. I think that letter's important.
I think so as well. So I would like to almost dance through the flames, like around the flames, in order to get to the letter. And I'm going to take my rapier out and just flick it up onto the tip. And just move my way back. But my question is, may I use my advantage of got it in order to get through these flames, or is that how that works?
Oh yeah, let's take a look at your advantage.
So got it is spend a hero point to immediately pick a lock, crack a safe, or disarm a trap. And I'm wondering if this could count as that.
Yes, it can. And let me tell you how your advantages and hero points work. Each of you have 3 hero points, because we're playing a demo game, and but you get 3 hero points, and you use these to activate your advantages and to activate your virtue, your Arcana virtue. By the way, what Arcana virtues represent is that in the world of Thea, which is the world of 7th Sea, heroes have a magical field around them that allows them to do supernatural or super incredible things. Some scholars in Thea speculate that this makes heroes kind of like the antibodies of the world fighting evil. But there are villains who also have this supernatural aura about them, which is what your Arcana is.
Oh.
And fate witches can see it. So when you spend a hero point, you can say, yes, I get the letter, and you haven't spent any raises.
Oh.
Or you can spend a raise and say, yes, I get it. It's up to you
Okay.
how you want.
Okay, so they're both basically the same outcome for the most part.
I should tell you guys how to spend hero points. If you spend a hero point after you roll, you can add 1 die to your roll. So you make your roll and you're like, oh, I'm 1 die short of another raise. So you spend a hero point and that gives you another die to add to your pool. Right?
Got it.
If, however, before everyone rolls, you spend a hero point and explain how you are helping someone else, helping another player, that player gets 3 bonus dice.
Whoa.
So,
Yeah.
and it's free. It needs to make narrative sense, but it doesn't count as an action, right?
Okay.
It doesn't count as your approach. You're just like, in this scene, I am helping Zach's character. I am helping Reginald distract the villain, right? And I say, great, you spend a hero point, and that means Zach gets 3 bonus dice. Okay?
Cool.
That's how hero points work. I have danger points. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 danger points. Because there's 5 of you. And I can spend danger points to do various things. I'm going to keep them a little quiet now, but you'll see how they work as we play the game.
Oh no. Okay, so in this specific instance, it would make the most sense for me to just spend a raise then.
I think
to
so.
hop through. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'll dance through the flames to grab this letter.
You have the letter from Queen Elaine. That is really important for some reason that we haven't determined yet. Awesome. So that means that, Luke, you are now the person with the most raises.
I am. However, I am looking real hard at my hubris, which is I get a hero point when I get someone else to do my dirty work for me and it backfires. How would you feel about buying some dice off me?
Buying some... Oh, would you want me to...
I'm thinking, like you said, we can't accidentally fail. Can I deliberately fail?
Yeah, let me explain how the I fail rule works. Before you roll dice, you say, I fail. And that means I get to say what happens next.
Right.
Ooh,
Now,
okay.
the important thing to also know about in this game is your character cannot die accidentally. Right? There is no die roll that kills your character, because that's nonsense in this kind of game. And we haven't talked about wounds yet. I'll explain how those work in a moment. and when we get to it. But your character can only die under very specific circumstances. And when those circumstances come up, I'll explain them. But if you would like to say, I fail, I will give you a hero point.
I think I'd like a hero point. I think it's funny. I think it's good that Vincent is not quite as slick as he thinks he is. I think the fire is making this already skittish guard more panicked than he realizes, and just the press of the argument is too much. And he doesn't quite convince him in the way he thinks he does, and he makes him break instead. So I'm going to say I fail in my approach here.
So you fail. So you shout up at the guard, you saw the villain shoot that helpless man. How can you stand by and allow this to happen? And the guard
joins the winning team, yeah?
Joins the winning team. And the guard looks at you with his musket, and he squeezes the trigger, and he shoots you.
Oh,
so
brutal.
This is how
fair, but
Yeah, because you have a German accent, of course.
Yeah, German accent and saying joins the winning team.
So here is how wounds work. You guys see that you have the wound, the death spiral on your character sheet. By the way, it's a rule. It's in the book. I have to do this. So the death spiral is a number of wounds, and then the stars are dramatic wounds. Now, wounds are nothing. You're a big damn hero. You can take wounds and have no effect on you. But dramatic wounds change how you and the system interact with each other. So, for example, Felicia, are you looking at the character sheet?
I am looking at my version of the character sheet.
We are all off Google Docs. I'm just sending everyone one right now.
Thank you,
okay.
Luke.
Well, here I will read it out loud. As you look at the character sheet at the death spiral, you'll see that it is a spiral of circles and stars. And you can take 4 wounds, no problem. You're tough. But when you hit the 5th wound, you take a dramatic wound. And when you take your first dramatic wound, it means you get +1 dice on all of your rolls. That's right. In this game, when you get hurt, you get tougher. Because you're all John McClane from Die Hard. And
you get that one cut right above your eye.
Yeah.
The bleed,
It just
like,
makes you hotter, right?
Yeah, it makes it more attractive.
it's the old the Snake Plissken's eye patch gives him -1 to reach attacks. No.
No.
Okay. The second
+1 to 3 pointers.
That's right. Okay. You had to invoke the bad Snake Plissken. So the second dramatic wound gives +2 bonus dice to villains. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, you may notice that I don't roll dice in the system. You guys roll all the dice, right? Except when villains show up. Now, I did say that there's a villain in the room and he has the prince over his shoulder, right? Villains roll dice against you. So they get raises that they can use against you too, okay? The third death spiral thing is that all of your 10s explode. That means if you roll a 10 on a D10, you grab another die and add it to your pool. And then finally, the last one, if you take 4 dramatic wounds, it means you become helpless. Now, in this game, helpless means you need to spend a hero point to take any kind of action. You are helpless. Now, if you are helpless and there is a villain in the scene, I can spend a danger point and say the villain kills you. Now, that action happens at the end of everyone's actions. And any hero can stop that action from happening by doing one of 2 things, by spending all of their raises or spending a hero point. And you can stop the villain from killing the other hero. This is an important detail to remember in the game. All NPCs in the game, for rules purposes, are considered helpless. So a villain can walk into your favorite pub and say, I kill him, I kill her, I kill him, everybody dies. That's what villains do in this game.
Villains.
Villains.
What can
What
you do?
jerks.
They're the worst.
So villainous.
Hate those
They're
guys.
villainous.
It's in the
Thinking of
name,
tongues
yeah.
and shot into leg here. Maybe make this your heroes.
Oh, cool.
There are rules for redeeming villains, but we don't need to go into those today. So, I bring this up because you get shot with a musket,
Which means instant dramatic wound.
which means instant dramatic wound.
Mm.
Ooh.
Because that's what firearms do in this game. They cause an instant dramatic wound.
Luke knows the rules.
That's
What
cool.
a nerd.
Yeah,
Oh
what
no, I've played the system before, Zachary.
All right. Who has the most raises
Okay.
now? Oh, by the way, you got a hero point. So
Okay,
Two?
I'm on 2. Is anyone else? What is everyone else sitting at?
I'm at 1.
Listen.
I'm at 2.
all right. So between you two, who's in charge?
I have something silly to do. All right.
No.
I would like to do a very silly thing where I use my virtue, the Fool, where I escape from the current scene. So I can escape danger from the current scene. But what I was hoping to do is I can't rescue anyone when I do it, but I was hoping to essentially escape from this building using my 1 hero point and appear in a place where I can now distract these guards with muskets. Is that
Yeah. Yeah. How would you do that? Narratively, how would you do that?
I think this is one of those moments where Mr. Lantre unslings his guitar. I'm going to go with guitar for this one. Why not? And jumps through the window because he was using finesse. Falls on that conveniently placed hay bale. And that's how I would use my hero point. And then start running down the street, playing music and yelling for the guards' attention.
That could work.
Is that
so,
too many bits?
No. Remember,
Okay.
you spend a hero point, and you get to narrate what happens next.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's so it's like kind of when you use a hero point, you can narrate multiple steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I have a suggestion for you.
Yes.
Instead of falling into the hay bale, why don't you swing on the flag that's outside up to the window that's behind them and start playing and distract them?
I feel like my brain is wired to not be too dramatic and silly. So I'm always like, how do I make this? Yes, that sounds fantastic. Actually, there's one of those where the flag is on a rope, and he grabs it and cuts the rope so it shoots up.
Yeah.
Like Jack Sparrow, like that kind of energy. And then so he starts playing his guitar. You stupid cardinal guards! No, I'm Australian. Where did my accent go? Shooting me shouldn't be this hard. And he starts playing his guitar, jumping around. And then because I used my performer quirk, I can get a hero point back. I think that's how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah. Check that out.
because you're performing in a dangerous situation. Is that what it is? It's
If you perform in a way that doesn't relate to making more money. And a
Yes.
crowd pleasing, it's crowd pleasing skill. Yeah.
it pleases the crowd that guards are no longer shooting at them. Awesome. All right, so that means that Elyssa, you are next.
Yeah.
Or
So
you get to see who goes next. Remember, the villain hasn't gone yet.
where is the villain currently?
He is currently out in the street.
We're falling,
through the
right?
window.
We're falling out of
Yeah, plummeting towards the street. Yes.
Okay. And do I technically, if I were to use a skill, would I still have to use the one that I said at the very beginning of the round?
No, you can use a skill that's outside your approach,
I see. Got
but
it.
it costs 2 raises.
Got it. Okay. May I reach the villain to use an advantage?
Which advantage do you want to use?
I'd like to use We're Not So Different, which is spend a hero point to convince a villain that you are on their side. The villain considers you a trusted ally. As soon as the villain sees you perform a heroic action, or if you refuse to perform a villainous action, the illusion is over.
That's a great Vidace. Vidace, when I visited Italy, I asked the Vidace players, I was like, did I get Italy right? And they said, of course you did. We are all bastards and all of our women are women. So how do you use that in this scene? I have a couple of suggestions, but if you have an idea, go ahead.
So my idea is to run up to them and say, okay, are we ready to go? I have the letter. And seem like I'm an ally to them and say, we need to escape from the other, so they don't know where we're going.
So there's one villain in the scene, and they are currently plummeting with Zach's character out the window.
Oh. Then I could swing in and grab this person midair.
Do you want to grab them before they fall out the window, and
Yes.
snatch them from plummeting down?
I do.
And that's what convinces them that you're on their side?
That would be awesome.
Okay, spend a hero point. Zach, you're currently plummeting alone.
Dang nabbit!
because Lady Francesca has prevented the villain from falling.
Curse you, Francesca, and your inevitable but obvious betrayal.
So, at this point, I'm going to spend a danger point, which means the villain gets to go. And the villain is going to roll his dice. Now, villains have ranks, like a rank 5 villain or a rank 10 villain or a rank 15 villain. And villains can roll up to a number of dice equal to the rank, but they don't have to roll all of them. So you don't ever know what the rank of a villain is until they roll their full dice. And even then, they could be a rank 15 villain and they're only rolling 10. So you're never really sure how many dice a villain is going to roll. But I do have to tell you. So I'm rolling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm rolling 10 dice. So he is at least a rank 10 villain. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, there's 1 10, there's 1 raise, there's another raise, there's another raise.
Yikes.
There's another raise, and then I have 2 traitors. So the villain got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raises.
Wow. What is the maximum amount? Is it 15 or can they go higher?
Can go as high as you want.
Okay.
And because remember, dice explode under certain circumstances. So if the villain, so I could spend a danger point and have the villain's 10s explode. He rolled 2 10s, so I could roll 2 more dice, but I'm not going to do that. That's excessive.
And take pity.
Yeah. So the villain, by the way, let's see. Who is the villain? Let's make him, since we're all mentioning the Cardinal. Let's just call him the Cardinal at the moment.
Ooh.
He has a fancier hat
Yeah.
than Sir Reginald, and that's the main reason he doesn't like
There's
it.
a giant name on it.
Yeah.
All good
Also-
Cardinals, he's played by Tim Curry.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, Cardinal Richelieu, Tim Curry, 100%. The great-
Oh, yes. Yes. It's not my favorite Three Musketeers movie, but he's one of my very favorite Cardinal Richelieus.
Yes, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
good.
My favorite Three Musketeers movie is the 1970s one that is like 6 hours long, and it's divided into 2.
I've got to
It's
see that.
really fantastic.
All right, I'm writing that down.
Cardinal, what's that?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, Joel is going to go back to his notepad and he's got 3 Musketeers written down and he'll have no
Oh, he's
idea
got
why.
That's exactly what I wrote.
Sorry, you were saying, John?
Oh, I'm going to call him Cardinal Oliver because he's from Avalon. So he's Cardinal Oliver Drake.
Ooh,
That's a villain name.
That sounds
yeah.
villainous. So Cardinal Oliver Drake takes one look at Lady Francesca and is convinced in her sincerity that she's actually on his side. And he says, "Excellent. Give me the letter."
Where have they swung to also? Are you mid-swing?
Yeah, where did you swing to? Did you pull him back into the room, or did you swing around to a different room?
Is there another balcony? So I know that Mr. Lantre went up to one of the balconies. Could we swing up to the other balcony?
You certainly can, where the other guards are.
Ooh. I'm gonna just pull him back in.
You're on his side, and they're his guards, so you don't have anything to fear.
That's true. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and swing up to that balcony with the other guards.
You are surrounded by the Cardinal's guards who are all firing muskets down at the room, and the Cardinal says, "Excellent. Give me the letter."
As I hand him the, oh wait, I can't do anything, can I? Right now.
You can't reveal that you're actually a hero, or the Dwemer dismisses.
Is the letter in an envelope?
Yes.
I'm wondering if it'll be too obvious if I pull the letter out of the envelope, if I just hand him the envelope.
Remember, if you were dealing with an NPC, just a regular old NPC,
Yeah.
you could totally do that because you get to narrate what happens. I have 5 raises.
That's right. Never mind. I will just hand him the letter.
Elyssa joins the carnival.
Peace out, guys.
He puts it in his robes. And then he points down at the rest of you and he says, kill them all. And I'm just going to say that that's a raise because he kind of like took an action. Right? And the guards are going to fire. I'm going to spend another danger point. And the guards, the brute squad, so in the game, unnamed thugs are called brute squads. Yes, it's a Princess Bride reference. And brute squads are like villains in that they have ranks. And the brute squads do wounds equal to their rank. So this brute squad is going to fire down on the room, and you, the players, except for Zac, who is not in the room, and except for Joel, who is up on the other balcony behind the other guards, have to decide how to split 7 wounds. One of you can take all of them, or you can divide them up equally amongst yourselves. But Felicia and Luke, you're the only 2 targets, so you have to decide how to split 7 wounds.
And because I failed, I don't have any raises to negate these, do I?
No.
But
By the
look,
way, Felicia, that is something you can do. If it falls under your approach, you can spend a raise to negate a wound. If it's outside your approach, you can spend 2 raises to negate a wound.
since I can't help,
punch bullets?
I was about to say, since I can't help but put myself in deeper shit, didn't Mademoiselle Desdemona punch her way out of the room, so it's just me in the room?
Actually, that may be true.
That's right. So yes, it's just you, Luke. Luke, you get a hero point.
Thank you.
It's you and the prince, right?
The prince.
Oh no, this is actually perfect. I was waiting for a more dramatically appropriate moment, but it's not going to come. So, I am a Sanderis, which means I can call on my patron to give me big favors. And
yes. So the way how this appears is nobody else sees this, but time stops, and as it does, you see a bullet right in front of the prince's face. And your little demon patron pops up and he goes, "Hi."
Hi, it's me again. Long time no talk, but hoping maybe you could help out with this one.
Well, I don't see why I'm needed here. The prince is about to die. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, but it's just bad for business if he dies right now.
It's good for my business if he dies. He's causing all kinds of trouble. He's feeding the peasants. No.
But think so many peasants for you to make deals with. If they die, peasants are easy to trick. You want them to live.
What do you want me to do?
Okay, so my deals with this Deva are fire and darkness. So
Okay.
what I would like for him to do is, I'll just. Well, look, the room is on fire, and I know you like to play with fire. Haha, little joke. Yes, we're on good terms. Maybe you make this room less on fire, and you make the room with the guards on fire. You just switch the fire around, and maybe do something about the bullet. Just move him out of the way, and then I do a little something for you. It's just a little favor, just a little one.
It is a little favor. Actually, I should do my Polish accent. I've been to Poland 3 times because he's a Polish demon. Huh? And he says, very well, I will do this thing for you. And you will do a thing for me. I want you to kiss my foot.
I look down at his feet. Well, maybe if we just move the bullet and then we come up with other terms.
If you want me to save the prince, you will kiss my foot.
Okay, you save the prince and you set the guards on fire, okay?
Are we back to that then? Very well. I will save the prince and I will move the fire. Now.
No, please be very careful with the words. I know you have tricked me before. Move the fire onto the guards, please.
Move the fire onto the balcony with the guards.
So this room is no longer on fire.
Da.
And the guards are on fire. That is important.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm very glad that no one else can see this. He puckers up.
You kiss the demon's foot. The prince
Surprisingly soft.
He exfoliates. Yeah, they could.
Prince moves just a little bit out of the range of the thing, and the balcony where Lady Francesca is erupts into flame.
Well,
We will be fine.
Lady Francesca, you're going to take 5 wounds
oh,
from the flame.
okay. So that means that I hit.
First
so it's
dramatic
plus
wound.
one. Yeah. So the +1 bonus die to all risks.
Yep. Because in this game, when you get hurt, you get tougher.
Nice.
Time unfreezes. The bullet goes right by the prince's cheek. You catch on fire suddenly with all of the guards and the cardinal. The cardinal is going to... the cardinal's approach was to convince Lady Francesca to give him the letter. So this is outside of his approach. So he's going to have to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 4. He's going to use 4 to avoid 2 of the wounds. So he only has 3 wounds. But he still has 1 raise left. Or he still has 2 raises left. All right. So it's kind of like watching a film and there's a frame missing for the rest of you. You can sense that something happened, but you don't know what it is. And for those of you who know about your friend with his demon buddy, by the way, does anybody know about your demon buddy other than you?
I would say nobody immediately present.
Okay. So,
What a crazy updraft! The currents in this room.
So because of that, there's a sudden shift, and no one's really sure what's happening. Of course, Lady Francesca has no time to consider what just happened because she's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody have raises left?
I mean,
Yes.
I have 1.
1.
I
Okay.
think I technically have 2 because I spent a hero point
Oh, wait a minute. Yes.
before.
Same.
So, Joel, why don't we have Joel go next, or say who goes next? Be in charge because Joel hasn't been in charge for a while.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I am going to. This is out of my finesse and perform. So I think I would use my 2 raises to turn to one of the guards, and so when I use an advantage, I would use 2 raises right now out of my approach to use one of my advantages.
No, you spend a hero point to use your advantage.
All right. I'm just going to use a hero point again because I go back from perform and inspire generosity, where I would like to turn to one of the guards and say, "It looks like you don't really need that gun you've got there. Why am I Australian? Where is this Australian accent coming from? Looks like you don't need that gun. Why don't you hand that gun over to me? Let me see why it's jamming." And use inspire generosity to just take his gun off him.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but I'll buy it. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm still feeling out the stretch.
I'm
and then
generous.
thank you. And then I guess so. I would have used my hero point, and I've still got my 2 raises. And I guess I would just like to. How many guards are on the balcony with me?
There's 5, and every raise takes out 1 guard. So that's how brute squads work, is that if you spend raises on the brute squad, it reduces their strength.
Cool. I suppose I try to take his gun off him and then use my 2 razors to reduce that squad by 2.
Okay. Your approach was to perform. How are you
Yes.
taking the guards out?
Finesse and perform. Since this is a hero film, I dodge, duck, and weave, and as they aim at me, they shoot where I just was, and their
There you
bullets
go.
hitting each other. Okay, cool. I'm learning how to be
Totally
ridiculous.
You've lowered the brute squad down by 2, so this brute squad is now worth 3.
Yes.
So when they fire, they cause 3 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they will probably shoot me next turn. Fantastic.
But they're also firing with firearms, which means they cause a dramatic wound.
Ah.
So we'll see what happens. Awesome. Elyssa, you have 2 raises left, yeah?
Yes. Will I continue to take damage if I stay in this fire?
No.
Okay.
You're on fire. That I don't care about.
Okay. That sounds good. So at this point, all of us on the balcony are on fire. So I would like to brush past Cardinal Oliver Drake and pickpocket him to take the letter back.
Is that in your approach?
It is. Is that not something that I could do as my advantage?
Which advantage do you have? Do you have brush?
I do have brush past.
Go ahead and spend a hero point, and you can
Awesome.
take the letter off of him.
Great.
Dun, dun, dun. The perfect Vodace woman. All right. So you still have 2 raises left.
Oh, can I continue going with them?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Is there a rope at all that goes down to the street?
Of course there is.
Yeah. May I take my my rapier out and lean over to flick the rope towards me? And I would like to wrap it around the prince and the cardinal and say to them, we have to get out of here.
Wasn't the prince still in the room you left?
Prince is down with me, not getting shot.
He's not on the cardinal anymore.
He's not on the no because the you brought the cardinal up to the balcony.
Oh, and he didn't have the prince at that point.
Yeah, I tackled just the villain out the window.
Got it. Okay, so Prince is not up with us anymore. So I'm going to tie the rope around the cardinal to keep the act up and jump off the balcony with him.
Okay, that costs 1 raise.
Okay.
Zach, do you have any raises left?
I have 1 raise, and I know what I'm going to do with it. So,
Okay.
Plummeting
towards the street.
Yeah, through a series, I think that, like, if we want to say, like, people automatically land on something soft or not, I'm happy to just hit the pavement.
By the way, the qualifier for soft, the category of soft, other people is part of that category.
I was also going to think there's that classic, like, series of, like, oiled or, like, fabric awnings that I tear through, like
bounce through. Yeah.
Ooh, bounce back.
Or a horse. What about a horse?
Classic. So the balcony that all that now is just the brute squad is on now that Francesca has left with the cardinal. The supporting structure of it, I am going to bust through to collapse the rest of the brute squad because I'm going to spend a hero point to do this because I have a glamour that allows, it's called Reduce the Brute. So activate this glamour to eliminate any brute squads in a scene with a strength rating equal to or less than the ranks you have. I have 2 ranks, and with 1 raise is 3, which is the remaining strength of that brute squad, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
That works for me.
So I will spend that hero point, and I'm like, well, butter my bread, gentlemen. And as I crash through the supporting structure and collapsing the balcony.
Butter my bread, gentlemen. Excellent. Right, so that brute squad is taken care of. That consequence is taken care of. All right, any more raises?
I have 1 left.
And I have
Okay.
1 left as well.
Felicia, why don't you go next?
So technically, I believe I have a wounded comrade inside by the name of, what was your last name again, Luke?
Tarsakuchin?
Yeah, that. So
It's a
Olme.
very common name where I'm from.
Okay. Well, I think Des is going to go back inside to try and help Kasakuchin and the prince get out of the building, if possible.
That is entirely possible.
Okay.
Because you're using brawl plus athletics, is that right?
It was brawn plus athletics, I believe. Or
Brawn
brawl.
plus
No, brawn plus brawl.
That's right.
Okay.
So how are you doing that?
Do I punch my way back into the building, or do I like?
A
I feel
second
like,
hole
yeah, I
right
do.
next to the first one.
Yeah, I don't go through the hole. I go through a new hole.
Yes, you make a new hole.
I make a new hole, and punch my way back into the room. Pick up the prince on one arm and pick up
Askuchin.
Yeah.
I will write it down for you when we get out of here.
I'm sure you will.
We don't call him Koch.
We just call him Koch. That's fine. I'll pick up Koch on one arm and a prince on the other, and then,
Bash your way through the wall.
That's right.
Yeah.
Flour sack them and then take off.
So you bash your way through the wall, and as it turns out, on the other side of the wall is a bath.
Oh.
And there's like many, many, many baths, and there are a bunch of naked men in the bath.
Lucky
You'd run
me.
across them.
You
Yeah, I
run
run
across-
across them. Yes, I do. I use their heads as stepping stones. Easy.
There was one
Awesome.
bum that you did step on. It was like a
Oh.
lily pad.
Yeah, just the one.
Awesome. And who has the last raise left?
I have one more.
Okay.
So now that we're down below, with the rope around the cardinal, I act like I'm going to take it off, but then I just tighten it.
Okay.
All right.
What is this? He says, and he has 2 raises left. So he says, "You vile woman, you have betrayed me again."
You trusted too freely.
So he has 2 raises left. So he is going to take a pistol from under his robes and shoot it at you. And he succeeds, and he causes a dramatic wound.
Ooh. Well,
It was outside of his approach, so he had to spend 2 raises to do it.
now I have 2 bonus dice. So,
Oh, no.
oh no, the villains do. Dang it.
Yep. All right. So everybody is out of raises. So here are the things that you guys resolved. Here's the complications you resolved. Number 1, you stopped the villain from leaving with the prince. Congratulations. You stopped the servants from being eaten by the fire. You rescued the letter. You dealt with the guards, but the fire is still going. So everybody is going to take 2 wounds.
Ugh.
So if I'm taking wounds now, will I go back under the dramatic wound, or when I took that dramatic wound from the bullet shot, I fill everything up to the wound?
So taking an automatic dramatic wound just means you take an automatic dramatic wound.
Right,
And then
okay.
if you start taking wounds, you start at the beginning of the spiral.
Cool.
Wow. All right. I was like, wow, 5 guards with muskets, you are dead.
Well, technically, a brute squad can only like they all have muskets, but you really only get shot once
Cool.
Right.
because they're just brutes.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when villains shoot you that you have to worry about.
I
Because
see.
villains can go, I shoot you, you take an automatic dramatic wound, and I spend 5 raises. So you
Okay.
take 5 more wounds.
Oh.
So, like, I would, for example, have 2 dramatic wounds plus 6 wounds.
6 normal wounds. Yep.
Cool. Got it. I have the Don McLean scar, or the cut right now.
Mhm.
That's how
Yeah.
wounded I am.
Yep.
Artfully wounded, tastefully wounded.
Artfully.
Yeah.
Tastefully.
Artfully, tastefully wounded. That's the best. Okay, so that's the end of the round. And now, with everything that you know about the scene, we're going to everybody's going to tell me their approach for the next round. You can keep the same approach that you had. You can change your approach, but remember, actions you take under your approach cost 1 raise, and actions outside your approach cost 2. So, and I can spend a danger point to cause things to happen, which I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a danger point, which now means Actually, I'm not going to do this because it wouldn't be fun. But I'll give you an example. I can spend a danger point so that now raises, you have to get 15 to get raises instead of 10. Because I'm escalating the danger. But I'm not going to do that. But that's an example of something I could do. I'm threatening you. So,
I feel threatened.
all right, so let's go over where everybody is really quick so we all get a sense. Felicia, tell me where Desdemona is.
I believe Mademoiselle Desdemona has just made her way through the bathhouse with the prince on one shoulder and Mr. Catch on the other.
That's true. Joel, where is Mr. Lorente?
Lorente. That would be Mr.
Way better than
Lorente is. You're going to change it, aren't you?
Yeah, I have to. I'm still on a balcony with 3 guards left, I believe. Is that right? Yes. Okay, good. And I'm standing there holding one of their muskets, very confused over what my approach is, but I've gotten this far, and it's going to go well.
Alyssa, where is Lady Francesca?
I am down below on the street with Cardinal Oliver Drake, who is currently tied with the rope that leads back up to the building.
With a pistol in his hand. But
With a pistol in his hand.
But he has flintlock, so he's fired it, so he's out of shots.
Yeah.
And Zac, tell us about Reginald Steele.
Reginald, he's down on the street having just busted down this balcony. He is brushing debris off him. I don't think he's too far away from where the lady and the cardinal would be, I think.
That's true. And finally, Luke, tell us where Vincent Cupcake is.
Mr. Taskuchin, her Taskuchin, I should say, is still on Desdemona's shoulder, being buffeted around. His bullet wounds are not doing him any favors.
He's probably used to it, though.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I will say, like, he's flipped around, so he's looking behind her, so he can see anything coming up from behind them. Because he's, like, butt first on the shoulder.
This is your favorite as Vinny.
Yeah, being carried around. Not using my own legs.
It.
Like,
yep.
In jokes. All right, so I want everybody to consider their approach. You don't have to tell me what it is. You can just kind of consider what your approach is. Everybody roll dice, and then, well, actually, let's talk about our approaches so everybody has a sense of what everybody else is doing or wants. Felicia, what's going to be your approach for this scene?
That's a good question. Do we have a point where we're supposed to meet up afterward? Like,
did you?
I'm going to say yes. Yep.
So in that point, by the way.
It's my favorite bakery. That's where we're meeting.
That sounds awesome. Get a hero point.
Sweet. Yes. Yeah, so we're going to go hang out at the bakery. It's got a really cute name. I forget what it is. Zac, what is the bakery's name?
Hot Buns. Check it and see.
Hot Buns. There we go. So I'm making my way to Hot Buns, and I've got Mr. Koch over one. I've got the prince on the other. What am I going to do? Oh, the prince is probably jostling too much, and he's not used to being handled this way, whereas Mr. Koch is. So I'm going to... Can I punch a prince into being polite? Is that...
Well, he hasn't been impolite yet. I can make him impolite.
Well, if he does, he's going to get punched. That's just...
Mon Dieu! What for are you carrying me this way?
Monsieur, you must be quiet. I am not going to put up with your problem. You do not understand. And then she's going to punch him. I just want to punch a prince. Is that bad? Okay, good. I just want to punch.
So what's your approach going to be? Is it going to be brawn plus brawl?
Yeah, again. Yep. Okay. I feel like...
Good old Rock. Rock always wins.
That's right. It does.
So that's Joel. Mine. Okay. Joel, what is Mr. Lorente's approach?
He sees these 3 guards in front of him, and he's like, "This, I didn't think this through." And so he's going to attempt to use his... So I have a signature item, which is a grappling hook, which is a thing that is a very silly joke that I've carried on in I Speak Giant, and I never use it ever. But for this experience, I want him. His approach is going to be to use that grappling hook and cause a bit of damage while making his escape from these 3 guards who have been sufficiently kept busy while we got out of the burning house. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a finesse and athletics.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay.
That totally works.
I also would like to let you know, although I've played 7th Sea a fair few times, I feel like I've never truly played the rules until today.
Not surprising.
Fantastic, and I love it.
It's I am under the firm one of my first GM rules. The first GM rule is don't be subtle.
Mhm.
That's the first GM rule. The second rule is say yes or roll dice.
That's awesome.
So, you know. All right. And that means Elyssa, tell us about Lady Felicia. What's her approach for this scene?
I think she's going to do brawn and athletics in order to force the cardinal to come with us to the bakery.
Okay. That works. And you're going to roll dice equal to your trait plus skill. And then Zac, what is your approach, sir?
I will attempt to. I will be the armed guard for the Lady Francesca and the Cardinal, because I assume he has a lot of men still under his employ who would attempt to stop us. So I will be using brawn and weaponry.
Okay.
So,
And lastly, Luke, tell us about our buddy, Mr. Cupcake.
Okay. I have the small advantage. So what I want to do right now is hop off Desdemona's shoulder, because we are big damn heroes, and it's more important we get the prince out than I get myself out. And the prince is also a slight slip of a youth. I want to really quickly swap coats with the prince and stay there and let Desdemona get out and just masquerade as the prince.
Okay.
As the guards come through.
What trait and skill are you going to use?
I would say this would be for a convincing disguise. Could I do wits perform?
I'll buy that.
Cool.
Okay.
And
how good is your roll?
What's that?
How good is your skill in that?
my perform is 2.
All you need is 1 raise to say you succeed.
Do I get a bonus die from small for that? Does
Yes,
my small advantage? Cool.
Sure. Also, remember, if you are wounded, you get 1 bonus die to your roll.
I do indeed.
So
Oh,
I'm going to run to the restroom quick, and when I come back, you guys roll, and I'll be right back.
sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna activate a bunch of stuff.
Oh, good God. Oh, good God. I am so good at disguising myself as princes.
I do wonder if I should have brought the cardinal along with us, or if we should have just booked it to the.
I was gonna fight him potentially.
Yeah.
You still can. Just while he's tied up, it's going to be way easier.
Yeah.
Yes,
true.
do it.
Yeah,
True.
I was gonna duel him in the streets.
Yeah. Wait, does anyone else need to run to the bathroom?
You should go if you have to go, Joel.
I'm
Like,
gonna-
go, Joel.
it doesn't need to be a group
Okay.
activity.
That's true. I'll be back. Oh, my back.
So when you do tens, he turned off his camera.
He didn't turn off his camera though. He turned off
kept
his.
the feed live.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So when we do tens, it's not the adding up; it's the set of die. That's right.
Yeah, you're making tens out of, and
Yep.
you can use multiple to make a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like a 9 and a 6 adds to 15, but only 1 set of 10.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Joel is also taking the 10. So do we want to do the duel in the streets and Francesca books it?
Yeah. Well, no, it works. It works quite well with the skills that I chose for me to fight alongside you.
Oh, right, cool. Radical. So I'm going to activate my major glamour, which is strongest there is. Which I get to add ranks in that glamour as raises. And I would also like, if this is okay, to activate my virtue, which is Where is it? My virtue is own a hero. Activate your virtue when you are the center of attention. For the next risk, when you determine raises, every die counts as a raise. So I'm gonna challenge him to like a duel very publicly in the streets of where are we in? Castile or?
I'm gonna say you're in Avalon because he's an Avalonian.
That makes sense.
Blah, blah, blah.
So I'll make a dramatic speech when appropriate, but yeah, I will be using my glorious virtue.
Okay, that sounds great. And you're in Avalon, so that's appropriate.
So I'm spending a hero point to use my glamour, and so I will have a dice pool of 7 plus 2 raises for the glamour, so I will have a total of 9 raises.
Oh my gosh.
What?
So I think you're going first.
Wow.
I got 4. Where's everyone else sitting?
5.
3.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking
Show
about how many
off.
raises can you get?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the villain is gonna roll too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
Far too many dice over there.
1, 2. There's 3 and 4 and 5. He got 5 raises.
5 raises. So I stand forward, brushing plaster and debris off of my very gaudy armor. And I draw my sword and I say, "You and I, we've had our back and forth, Cardinal, but our tete-a-tetes. But it's the end of the road for you, you mouth-breathing jackanape. So draw your steel. Let the people of our city witness your demise, you dick." And, I'm a duelist. I can spend specific raises to do certain like duelist maneuvers. So, but I think first I'm going to let him act because I feel weird about charging a dude who's tied up. Like, that seems weird. So I'm going to let him act first.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Dramatically appropriate.
I was gonna say you sound like Garth Marenghi's buddy on Dark Place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is my Matt Berry impersonation.
Barry, that's it, Matt Berry. It is a brilliant Matt Berry impersonation. All right, so the villain is going to pull another pistol from his robes, and you're going to take a dramatic wound.
Oh, no.
And 1, 2, 3.
He indied you. He indied you.
5 more wounds.
5 more.
That
wounds.
is that's painful. I did not expect another pistol.
I love the idea that his arms are tied, but his guns are like
He's got one of those belt pistols.
are pulled up, even though his arms are right next to
You know
his
what?
sides.
That's a fair point. He's going to spend a danger point, and he's going to escape the ropes.
Ooh.
Oh.
Paint me
Fair
pink
point.
and call me a turnip. I'm gonna then take.
How many wounds have you taken? How many more wounds can you take?
I haven't taken that many. After I crashed out of the thing, I didn't get shot by any sort. That's the first attack I've taken upon myself. I'm down to take more. This my whole character is about. I have the 5-point advantage. I'm taking you with me as well, which is
Yeah.
when you are very damaged, you can do every attack you do deals a number of damages equal to your dramatic wound. So I'm down to get slapped around. And so 3 raises in quick succession. So I'm going to use the slash maneuver, and then
Ooh, somebody's been reading the dueling rules.
and I think there's a feint maneuver,
Mhm.
and then another slash.
Okay.
So that should take me down to 6 or 5. 9
5.
minus 3,
Yeah.
6.
So what is your weaponry skill? Because slash allows you to do wounds equal to your weaponry.
3. So I do 3 wounds and then 1 wound with the feint, and then my next attack does an extra wound. So 8 total wounds.
So,
Wow.
to give people a perspective, there are fencing rules in the game because, hey, it's a swashbuckling game. And if you have the right advantage, which means you went to swordsman school, you can use the swordsman maneuvers, and one of the duelist maneuvers, and one of them is slash. Now, normally when you do damage, you do 1 wound per raise. But when you have the slash maneuver, you do when you hit somebody for a raise, you do a number of wounds equal to your weaponry skill. So because he has a 3 weaponry skill, he spends 1 raise and does 3 wounds.
So I'm just like, I'll slap you silly. And I'm just like charging down the street. I don't think I'm like, I think he's like dodging and weaving and like things are like cutting off like parts of his uniform and I'm not just like
stabbing him repeatedly.
So because of that, he is now convinced that he is outclassed, and he is going to spend a danger point. I have 2 left to escape the scene. Because villains can spend danger points to escape the scene.
You sticky brisket, I'll come for you, you wily fox.
So as a carriage comes rolling by, because you guys are in the middle of the street, he grabs the carriage and swings himself up, kicks the driver off, and gets behind the horses and starts going on the carriage.
So much style.
So much style.
Why do it anywhere else?
Yeah.
So meanwhile, hey, Zach, I think you still have the most raises. Who goes next?
Oh my dear. Des can go next.
Yay. Okay. Let's see. Is the prince still being shirty with me?
He is. He's cursing at you in Montaigne.
Oh,
That's shirty now that I've taken his clothes.
Oh, yeah, that's okay, fair. Wow, so I'm carrying a naked prince, hey?
And now I am
There's
dressed
towels
in these
around.
slops. Now I am dressed in these slops. I am impresentable to anyone in proper company.
Merle. She
C'est
just
vrai.
yeah. she I think, oh, is there something that I can do here? I'm going to use my size to intimidate him. And oh, that means I get a bonus die. Okay, 1 second. Can I get a second raise from that? Or is that too late? So
You've already rolled.
I've already rolled. Okay, so I can't do that. So I've only got 3 raises. I don't want to do a haymaker on him. I feel like that's a little bit too much.
Tell your friends what a haymaker will do.
A haymaker, when you make a brawl risk to punch, kick, headbutt, or otherwise injure another character using nothing but your own body, you can choose to spend all of your raises on your first action. You inflict a number of wounds equal to the raises you spend.
Oh, so you just kill it.
Well, he is an NPC, which means he's helpless, which means spending 1 raise will knock him out.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to knock him out to make him easier to carry. Yep. All right on the head.
Sure, please love that.
And then I'll fireman carry him the rest of the way to the hot
Go
buns.
Cena.
Buns.
Yeah. And done.
Awesome. As you are exiting the bath, a tall, naked, handsome, with his wet, long black Fabio hair and his rippling muscles, stands in front of the door and says, "Where do you think you're going?"
How rude.
And let's say, that this is, let's create a new, this is a minor villain. He's only, I'm going to tell you, by the way, he's only a 5-point villain. Only.
Okay.
Right?
Only. Gotcha.
However, I will give you a hero point if you have been romantically involved with him.
Okay. I'm in.
A hero point.
No problem.
Do you want to say anything about your romantic rival?
As in, like, do I get to say something?
Do you want to? You can tell me what his name is, who he is, what, and you want to tell me anything? Do you want me to set a baseline for you?
I would like a baseline, please.
Awesome. So, this is Count. Let me get to my Word document here.
Yeah, he is. He's a count. What's up?
He's a Count. Oh, damn it. Oxenberry. Count Oxenberry.
Love it.
Very. And he owns a lot of head of cattle. He is very into like, oh fuck, he's just like, he's the beef baron. Like he's just a beef baron, and that's his thing.
In more than
That's
one regard, apparently.
Yeah, in more than one regard. That's right. And I think they got involved at one point because Des is like really into something. What is
Beef.
Pies. He made you a lot of
He
pies.
made a lot of meat pies for Des,
Mhm.
and Des is way into a guy who can cook. So
Yeah.
that's what.
Sometimes he would surprise you with like a blueberry pie. It's in the name. Yeah.
Yeah. Oxenberry.
Yeah.
I get it. That's good.
So he stands in front of the door and he says, "Where do you think you're going?" With that kind of dangerous, flirtatious look at
Smolder.
him.
Smolder. Yeah, he's got a smolder.
Smoldering.
Des would be, I'm going past you. I am leaving you like I did last time. You have to accept it. Let it go. And I think she might.
Haymaker.
Hey, man.
Oh!
Now,
I think
he's a
she might.
villain. He's a villain, so one raise won't take him out.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 left. So I might do, I might haymaker him.
Yeah.
So that's 2 wounds.
Yep. So that's 2 wounds to him. So you deliver the haymaker, which knocks his chin back a bit, and he steps back a bit. His eyes are a little dazed and unfocused, and then he shakes his head, and I was hoping you would do that. And he snaps his fingers, and the other men get up out of the baths.
Fully dressed with muskets.
Fully dressed.
All right, so who's next? Who has
There's
the
so much ornate stonework in the bath that it all
Yes.
just like neatly covers from every camera angle.
This scene was a nightmare to block.
Who's next?
I think you still have 6.
Oh my
Zac.
goodness, yes. I will spend. Has the villain escaped, or is it like, oh, he is going and we are like
He is
chasing-
leaving. If you want to chase him, you're free to chase him.
I might spend 2 raises because this is outside my approach to like ostensibly add that there is some like horses by the tied up and grab them by the reins and be like, "Time to go, Francesca, but I don't know how to ride, so you're gonna have to take the reins and I'll ride secondsies."
Oh, I love this character so much. Okay, so great. So Francesca, you are the author of your own character. So do you get grabbed and thrown up on a horse to chase after the cardinal?
Yeah. So I would also like to assist in me jumping on this, and it's in one of those places where you are in my arms. Sir Steele is in my arms as I have the reins on either side.
Yeah, and I'm on the back. Be like, wee!
So you go chasing after him. Now he doesn't have any raises left because he spent all of his raises shooting you. So let's cut from you guys for just a moment. But I want you guys to think about how you're going to spend your races to catch him and what's going to happen next. As we head back to the room, who is left over here who has raises? Joel, I know Joel and Luke. Joel has 4 raises. Luke, how many raises do you have?
5.
5? Okay. Luke, who goes next?
I'm going to go real quick because I think what I need to do is make some cover for Des. So this is like a real steamy bathhouse. So I want to say that our subterfuge and the whole code switching, the people in bars didn't directly see that because it was like almost like a sauna in here.
Yes.
But now that the door's open and his beefiness is standing there, there's a bit of clear air, the steam clears out. And Vincent is there with the appearance of being tied up in the prince's coat with like a sack over his head. and he's going to do his best impression, hurling abuse at Mademoiselle Des. What is French? Go, leave me, you faithless cur. Leave the prince who you definitely were attempting to kidnap to these guards, and go. No, seriously, go now. Leave. What are you doing? And essentially just like bluffing these guards into the fact that he's the prince being left behind, and Mademoiselle Des is trying to make her escape.
Awesome. So, does that fall under your approach?
My was wits perform to pretend to be the prince.
So it's one raise
That's
to
one.
distract the guards into thinking that you're the prince.
Yes.
Awesome.
Could I potentially throw another raise in to make like an escape opportunity for Des here?
Yes.
Cool. I will do this.
Okay. So are you talking about making an opportunity?
Actually creating a capital O opportunity for her.
Okay. So what Luke is doing is he's using a mechanic called opportunities, which is you can spend your raise in a room, like he's doing. He says, "I'm spending a raise in this room so that Des has an opportunity to escape," which essentially gives Felicia a free raise. So he's essentially using narrative to give you one of his raises. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. By the way, Felicia, I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. Okay.
I'm muted?
Oh no, you're back.
Oh, you're there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Felicia, let's just follow the narrative really quick.
Okay.
How, as he is distracting the guards, how does that give you an opportunity to escape?
So instead of is Beefy McBeefsteak still in front of me?
Yes, but you uppercut. You.
That's right. Okay,
hit
so
the target, and his eyes are kind of glazed over, and he's
So-
not there.
I think I'm going to use this is still within my approach, I think. So I think I'm going to hook my leg or hook my foot around his knee and force him to fall down onto his knees so I can rush past him.
That works.
Okay, cool.
And so you rush out with the prince, heading towards with
Hot
the prince.
buns. Yeah.
Running
going to
towards
Hot
hot buns. Away from hot buns, toward hot buns.
Yes. Yes. Away toward, it's all the same to Des.
True. Joel.
All right. This is my approach of finesse and athletics. I was hoping, I said finesse. Yes, I did. It was a weird combo. My plan is I've got a grappling hook that I never use. And in this moment, I'd like to say that I see this stagecoach because there were the two balconies. So is that stagecoach passing near my balcony or is it going away
course
from?
it is.
Of course. Yes. This is great. So used to the Dungeon Masters being like, no, it's actually, if you look at this map, it's going in this direction.
Say yes or roll dice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach.
What? Yeah, I never let you guys get away with anything.
You never draw maps either.
Yeah, also that.
Mr. Lantre looks at the guards and says, well, lads, it's been fun. And he throws back the musket that he had taken moments before. But he's tied his grappling hook. He's kind of put the grappling hook through the trigger, like where the guard is for the trigger. And he wants to essentially run past them and swing around so that the rope, in a very dramatic way, wraps around them just once, and then he jumps off the balcony on the opposite end, slingshotting him and landing on top of this carriage. Now, I've got 4 raises.
You have 4 raises. So 1, 2, 3 takes care of the brute squad,
Okay,
and then the last one will
Yep.
land you on the carriage.
excellent.
Nice.
Sounds
perfect.
Yes, that's what I was hoping. I was like, I hope this is a 4. All right.
Yep. So you crash onto the carriage, and the cardinal looks around. The cardinal's got his back to, and he makes what?
I don't know. I'm making it up as I go.
Awesome. So who has raises left?
I have 3.
3, 4, and 3. Okay, Zach.
I will. So we're like in hot pursuit of the cardinal. I see what's name land on the roof, and as we pull up next to the cardinal who's chasing away, I want to try and get the Cardinal's attention, so I'll spend another 2 because it's outside my approach. I'm like, hey there, sailor, where are you off to in such a hurry? And I want to get his attention, creating an opportunity for, I guess, either Francesca or Lontre.
Okay. So you want to give your raise. So by creating an opportunity, it's the next person who uses it.
Cool. Yeah.
And narratively, like for the one we just did, narratively, it makes sense for Felicia to use it because she's in the same room as him. And narratively, it makes sense for either Elyssa or Joel to use it because they're right there. So there is a free-floating raise in the air, and the first person who uses it, it's gone.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So the villain curses at you, but he has no more raises left.
What exactly does an opportunity give us when we use it?
So it's a raise that you can use. So
Okay.
it's like you just added a raise to your pool.
Okay.
But it has its own approach, and it's kind of and the user, the person who gives it, who puts it in the air, kind of like defines how it's used.
Okay.
So in this case, he's distracting the villain, so you have to use the raise in that narrative way.
Got it. Okay.
Cool.
That sounds great. So who's next?
Right. I think you're next.
Oh,
aren't you?
awesome. Yeah. So I would like to spot a contact of mine from across the road as we're riding. And this is part of my streetwise. So I can spend a hero point to locate a fixer, an information broker, a black market, or similar underworld figure. So I would like to locate someone and say, hey, you owe me, and now's the time, pay up. And I'm going to point to the carriage. And
This has to be the first use of this advantage mid-chasing.
You'd be surprised.
And then I would like to proceed next to the carriage. At this point, is there anyone on the carriage other than the count? Or no, not the count. I mean the cardinal.
It's the cardinal. Also, Joel, Mr. Laurente is on the carriage, and Lady Francesca and Reginald are next to it.
Okay, so there are no NPCs or anything on here?
No.
Okay.
You already picked off the original driver.
Got it. Okay. So I would like to ride up to the next side to the next of the horse and latch out my horse onto his horse, so that there's no way that he could escape me.
Okay.
And then I would like to try to grab his reins.
All right. So, how much of this falls under your approach?
So I'm thinking that I would, as I come up with the horse, we would shove into the other horses. So that would be part of I think that'd be part of the brawn athletics, maybe?
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Okay, cool. And then trying to grab onto the, I don't know if grabbing onto the reins would be part of the brawn athletics, would it?
I buy that too.
Okay. So yep, they both fall under it. So that would take 2 of my 3 points that I have.
So your contact is this is a hero who pops up in a lot of my games. His name is Deaf Henry. Deaf Henry is a gunner, is a master gunner on one of Queen Elaine's Sea Dog's ships. He's deaf in one ear and doesn't have the other. And seeing you ride by, he looks up and sees you, and you say, "Carriage, do something!" And Deaf Henry nods, reaches into under his jacket, takes out a little hand cannon, because he's Deaf Henry, and he blows one of the wheels off the carriage.
Yes.
And the carriage goes spinning. It breaks away from the horses and goes spinning down the street with everybody on it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, as that's happening, Mr. Cupcake
Mr. Cupcakes, das Kuchen, please. Have das Kuchen. Back up in the bathhouse, surrounded by a slick and
By guards and a villain.
and a villain.
Because your friend, Desdemona,
Made
left
her
you.
escape.
Made her escape.
That was
So
that
you're
was always
surrounded by guards and a villain
who think I'm the prince.
who think you're the prince.
Would it still be within approach to dramatically reveal that I am not the prince and make my escape?
Yeah, because you're using disguise, so you're using the surprise of disguise.
Yeah, so I want them to, I guess, led by Count Beefcake, walk up to me across the very slick bathroom floor. Their guards quite let down because they think I'm the prince and I'm tied up. And as he is right up in point blank range, pull my pistol, shoot him in the foot, and kind of kick off him and slide off the slick floor and out the window behind me.
That totally works.
Okay, so I'm guessing that would be like 1 for the dramatic reveal and then 2 to escape because that's not an approach.
Yep.
That's my razors.
Curses and damnation, he shouts as he jumps on one leg while holding his foot.
Goodbye!
Somehow.
Thank you for your hospitality. Maybe put some pants on next time.
And you make your way to the rendezvous.
Ooh.
Awesome. So, meanwhile, on the carriage, which is currently spinning down the street, missing one of the wheels. I believe that Joel,
Yes.
let's see, Mr. Laurente and Reginald Steele are both on the carriage. Or no, Reginald Steele, you're next to the carriage.
Yeah, I was on the horse still with Lady Francesca.
Yeah. So the carriage goes spinning. Reginald, or no, not Reginald. Let's see, Mr. Laurente, since you are on the carriage, let's have you take the next action.
Okay, well, I have 0 raises, but there's still that
Oh
one.
no!
Yeah, but I have a hero point
And you have the floating raise.
and the floating raise. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
So now, because I used finesse and athletics, I can't decide. Oh, we're trying to kill this villain. Isn't that our plan? Is
Sure.
that one would say? We're not supposed to.
Well, killing people is kind of villainous.
Oh, that's true. It's not very heroic. Ugh.
We just get him to surrender somehow, I guess.
Trying to bring him to justice.
Capture him.
Maybe justice.
Okay, look, this is a hard decision with just one floating raise. Does anyone have any ridiculous ideas that I can do besides just sit on this carriage with this villain and go for a
Remember,
spin?
it only costs 1 raise to allow you to narrate what happens next.
God, that's true. That's true. Okay.
And he's a villain with no raises left.
I do like the idea that you just sit next to him and have a drink with him.
Look, he's taken a bit of damage. I think Mr. Laurente sits next to him and holds on to him, and holds his arm, and looks at him and says, "This is going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt me," and with that uses the 1 raise to just jump off the carriage and land. The aim is to land on top of him. The ground is a little bit soft. How about that?
That's awesome.
That sounds good to me.
The plan is to essentially land on top of him and hold him there so the rest of the group can catch up and we can bring this cardinal to justice.
I will use my 2 raises, because this is outside of my approach, to leap off the horse next to him, sword raised to his throat. Be like, "Time to surrender, you jam-handed buffoon. I'll gut you. Don't think twice about it." And have my sword at him. So I'm intimidating, but that's outside of it. So that's my last 2 raises.
All right. Anybody have any raises left?
I have one
Elyssa?
more. So I'm going to ride up to Deaf Henry and pull out a flask and hand it to him. And I'm going to pull out my flask and we're just going to have a
You carry a
toast.
gas flask?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so nice.
Classic Francesca.
Told you.
Always double flasking it.
Awesome.
I have-
You get a hero point.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the scene ends with imagine a cinematic, sitting in the theater watching the screen with the camera sweeping in as all the heroes have their swords pointed at the villain, and then it moves over to Lady Francesca and Deaf Henry toasting, and then it goes up to the sky, up to the blue Avalon sky, and then comes back down to the hot buns. And no, we're not talking about Mr. Beefy McBeef.
Oh, shame.
For a second, it goes on to him.
Yeah.
I'll go into his buns and then it pans away to the...
And
His likeness is on the signage outside.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
that makes sense. Yeah.
and you are there with a mysterious figure, who is you don't know who it is, but the audience does, which is you. This is Queen Elaine's master spy, and as you sitting there with the cardinal with his hands tied behind him and everything, and he says, "You have done very well. The Queen thanks you for your service." And then he hands you a very large bag of gold coins. And he says, "If you are ever in Avalon again, I have need of such heroes such as yourselves."
Wink.
And
Still
you
wearing
want
the
to say
princess
something witty
coat.
before we fade to black?
No. Mr. Laurentier
Oh,
grabs
wait,
the
I had
bag.
something for this. There are no other heroes like us. Fuck, no, that doesn't really track.
That's right.
Zooms in on Sir Reginald. He's like, "Damn it, I left my hat back in that. God damn it. Probably burnt by now."
I pick up the bag of gold and I'm like, well, if this is how much you pay every single time, we'll be back.
So that's how you play 7C. I want to thank you all for playing. You guys were a great group. You were a lot of fun. I mean that. I run a lot of games for perfect strangers. They're not always fun. Sometimes the group just doesn't click. Sometimes they don't. The system is really different, right? It's not your typical role-playing game, and sometimes they don't get over that hurdle. So, but you guys did really fantastic, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you very much for playing the game with me.
Yeah,
Thank
us
you
too.
for
This was
having
awesome.
us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This was an
Such a-
absolute blast.
Such a treat for me.
Being able to play.
Awesome. So if you want to know more about 7C, you can go to chaosium.com and you can find out. You can download our free quick start, which is there, which gives you a starting adventure and gives you 5 or 6 characters that you can play right off the bat, and you can start playing. You can read it today and play it tonight, and you can download it for free as a PDF. And if you want to know more about 7C, you can go to chaosium.com and find out more.
And you can find us at ispeakgiant.com as well for more of our work as well.
And since everyone is doing it, enjoy the rest of PAX Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.